When Mariam, Moses' sister, was young, she studied with the Egyptian priestess at the temple of Isis. It was prophesied that she was to become the keeper of sacred knowledge. At the time, Miriam didn't understand the meaning of those words. Years later, she accompanied Moses to Midian, where she too had an ecstatic experience at the burning bush. For to be in the presence is divine. It's rapturous. She fell into a trance state, and through that experience, she came to understand the meaning of those words, keeper of sacred knowledge. As a prophet herself, Mariam saw that when Moses would lead the Hebrews to their freedom, it would also foreshadow a time where women would lose their voices and their agency. We begin after the burning bush. Here now is Miriam.
After seeing the bush that did not burn, I realized that my prophetic sight had sharpened even more. I saw it all as if laid out before me. I understood what the priestesses had meant when I was young, that I was to become the keeper of sacred knowledge. I saw the fall of the goddess, how her powers would be denied, forced into the underground. I saw how this would foretell the diminishment of women's voices. I could see how the blessings in our lives would soon become known as abominations. One word in the hands of the scribes was to complete the downfall of everything we loved. That word was idol. We had so many beautiful statuettes, hand-designed, handcrafted with love. And then the terms idols and graven images were turned into curses. We didn't worship them instead of the great mystery, as the scribes claimed, but to honor the energies in all their myriad aspects as a loving, beautiful tapestry. They served to keep the gifts of her bounty in front of our minds. My heart still breaks at the tremendous loss that was to befall my descendants. To the storytellers goes the ability to shape how society feels about people and events. Moses would go on to become known as a great liberator. My own role would become a mere side note. I did not see myself that way. In my day, women's roles were just as important as men's. But I saw how that balance was about to change. Even as we were about to gain one freedom, the stage was being set for us to lose another. Moses' wife, Zipporah, was my sister ally. She and I spoke often. I shared with her how I was to become the keeper of sacred knowledge, and I went on to explain how being at the burning bush allowed me to see in its fullness what that meant. Zipporah saw the need just as I laid it out for her, and she saw more besides.
Oh yes, the cycle of the seasons of life and those of a woman's body. This knowledge is the very basis of life itself. But what I don't understand is how anyone would want to erase it. Wouldn't it diminish their lives and the lives of their loved ones? Wouldn't they be upset about that?
Yeah, one would think so. But no matter the reason, that is the future I see for our people. I see a time when the earth herself is not valued. The goddess is defeated in favor of an all-powerful male deity. When women's bodies are not honored or treated with respect. It happens slowly, but people do give up their rights and their freedom, even their way of life in the service of power and might.
We must do something to protect, to keep the knowledge of earth wisdom available to those who value it.
Yes, we must hide it, but in a way that is still accessible to those who seek it out.
Zipporah and Miriam set out to create ways to hide knowledge of the goddesses in plain sight. They focused on one divine name in particular, Shaddai. Shaddai is always translated as Almighty in your holy book, but it has another meaning.
So I think our first step is to focus on the names that we call divinity.
What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking of the little ones, the babies, the children.
Yes, like my sons, my treasures of the future.
Yes. And how did you first nourish your precious sons?
Why, with the milk of my breasts, of course.
And what is the word we use for breasts?
Shad. Oh my, you are right. Shad means breasts, and there would be no human life without women's breasts, our Shaddaiim, to feed our babies.
And we already have a goddess name derived from Shad, Shaddai, the divine being with breasts.
But those scribes can't fail to notice that this name is female and want to erase it from their texts.
True, but not unless we do something.
What? Turn Shaddai into a male? I just can't imagine how anyone can turn a milk-feeding, nurturing divinity with breasts into a male god.
Perhaps if we convince them that it is a powerful name that stands on its own.
So how do we do that?
So this is what I think. We can give the name Shaddai a new meaning, something the scribes will like.
What would those boys like? Something like strong chief?
Strong chief. Maybe powerful overseer?
Mighty leader.
Wait, say that again.
Mighty leader.
Yes, mighty. I like that. It's got punch, and it doesn't take too much away from the true meaning of the word. I think it will have broad appeal. We could go with a variation. Full mighty, whole mighty, almighty.
Almighty, almighty, I like it.
So it came to be. Shaddai grew to be known as the Almighty.
We did it. We did it. We did it.
And I can see it. I can just visualize it. When people pray to a divinity called the Almighty, they'll be picturing a large muscle-bound man rising out of clouds and throwing thunderbolts, and they won't even realize that they're praying to a female deity.
I must admit, it makes me sad that we have to hide the true meanings.
You're right. I know. It feels like we're contributing to the loss of such beauty. How will our descendants remember that the goddess with breasts is the same female divinity who created the Milky Way in the heavens from the overflow of her own milky teats?
And how will they know that she is the same goddess who sends down the gentle dew on the early morning on earth and coaxes the shoots to grow and the buds to blossom?
Yes, but our work will help Shaddai stay in people's consciousness.
They and others wrote songs to sing at all public gatherings, to drum to their rhythms, to move their feet to their cadences, to embed the names and ideas into people's minds so they would not so easily be removed. One of the songs that Mariam wrote survived. It is in Genesis chapter 49, verse 25.
I wrote many songs, but only the one survived. And some king named James takes credit for it, though. This King James did change it, but there is enough of the original that the power of the Almighty still shines through the words.
Even by the God of thy father who shall help thee, and by Shaddai who shall bless thee, with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb.
As you can see, Shaddai was not removed from the text. In fact, the women were so successful in the efforts that even today, Shaddai appears 48 times in your holy text. They snuck this one right under the noses of the scribes.